Hello, everybody. Welcome to another show. This is another show. It's on Thursday. You thought we come on Fridays? No, we come on Thursdays. It used to be Fridays, but now it's Thursdays. Actually, it used to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But for now, it's going to be Thursdays. Why? Because Ed and I are flying to London tomorrow because we're going to a cannabis conference. It's going to be the #1 cannabis conference in London for the rest of time. Isn't that smashing bloody well true, Edward?
Wow.
Cannabis Europa. Cannabis Europa. That's what we're talking about.
So you know I live in London, right?
You're gentleman, Sir Edward Milewski.
Yeah, well, no, I'm London, Ontario.
Oh, well, that's where we're going.
We're going to London, Ontario.
We're flying to London, Ontario tomorrow to do the show. No, we're going to London, England, Edward. We're going to London, England. We're going to have a jolly good time.
Cheerio.
During the show from the Queen's personal studio, where we're going to smear her crumpets with our own particular brand of cannabis butter.
Jesus.
So
epic day.
Epic day.
Epic day.
Historical. Missiles imminent in Iran. Shouldn't have shot down that drone, boys. That was your first mistake.
Before we met briefly, I was talking to Mike Blady, who's in the gold game. We were talking.
Mike Blady.
Yeah.
Mike Blady, Golden Ridge Resources.
Yeah.
Is that thing taking a move today?
It's starting to move a little bit. I think he's working on some things. But the point being,
yes.
I talked to him just before we met.
Yes.
And the move hadn't happened. Something had happened at a certain time.
Today.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Well, they shot down the drone.
I don't know if it was that or if it was because the Fed said rates could be slashed. That's what they're saying.
So nobody listens to the Fed anymore.
Anyway, look at.
What?
Gold is this. You know today's the highest close in gold in the commodity pits since December 2013.
No shit.
Yeah.
So gold currently trading at $13.90. Looking at my NDI here, if we can see it.
Yeah. 13. I think 13.93. I got a life.
It's not working. Can you see my NDI there, Donnell? You can't see me, buddy. NDI. What the hell's going on with you? Hold on here. Processing, Windows, Safari, here we go. Oh my God, we got so many Safari windows open. How about now?
Well, I can tell you
this is ground control to Major Tom. I'm stepping through the door.
Wow.
What?
Canadian lender Desjardins says personal data of 2.9 million members breached.
Oh, there you go. Don't give those bastards your personal data ever. Anyways, the price of gold is at $1,390. First time it's been there since
$13.94.15.
$13.94.15. Do I have $13.95? $13.95 going once, $13.95 going twice. Edward, I would like to point out the fact, just because it makes me seem like I'm smart, even though we both know that is not the case at all.
Right.
I bought 5 solid ounces of gold back in September.
Yeah.
I'm up fabulously.
5 ounces?
5 ounces, yeah.
That's $5,000 worth of US.
$5,000 US.
About $6,000 US.
$6,000, I could retire on that. Motherfucker. Anyway, so yes, today, we're doing the show today because tomorrow we're going to be in the UK.
In the air.
In the air. We're going to be up there, drinking like fishes. Flying fishes, mind you, but drinking nonetheless.
Right.
Anyway, so Cannabis Europa, the website that you want to check out is cannabis-europa.com, and sponsored by Aurora Cannabis, Supreme Cannabis. In fact, we will be interviewing Cam Batley from our media center at the Southgate Centre in bloody old London. And
you're going to see a lot of your friends there, aren't you? Or
yeah.
I would say friends, maybe it's a little
friends.
strong.
Actually, we have lots of friends there. Actually, we might be meeting with a certain guy who's like, and also Sir. And so, oh, yeah. Well, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, what? Anyway, so yeah, what's going on today? You want to know what's happening on the show? I don't know what's going on.
The Queen lives around there, doesn't she, somewhere in London?
Anyway, so of course, the beautiful Portuguese news nurse herself, Suzanne Garcia, is going to be reading the news. And let me tell you, the news today is so new that it's not one new, it's news.
It's new.
There's several news.
Several new.
Andrew Berman joins us at 3:15. He is the new CEO of Harborside. And Harborside, if you don't know, is Steve D'Angelo's cannabis thing. It's probably one of the oldest dispensaries in business. Martin Cronin, the CEO of Patriot One Technologies, jumps in for an update on Patriot One and their what is it they do again? Oh yes, they scan people for bad devices. Guns, bombs, knives. And then we're actually going to publish for the first time, actually it got published on a website earlier, look at that, I'm not even there and I've already got a British accent. A special feature on Galane Gold site tour. Now this site tour was shot by our affiliates in South Africa. You know what they say, PowerPoint, what's another word for PowerPoint? They say, send me your deck. Send me your deck.
Send me your deck.
But if a guy in South Africa says, send me your deck, you know what he says?
Send me your dick.
Show me your dick. Show me your dick, mate. I'd be glad to have a look at your dick, mate. Show me your dick. Anyways, dick, that's how they say it.
Okay.
And then, in commemoration of this fantastic day, breakout day in the gold price, Vishal Gupta, who is the CEO of California Gold Mining, is here. And wait, before all you cannabis-loving, gold-hating investors click away, California Gold Mining also is growing cannabis. That's right. We got a cannabis and a gold mining company doing the same thing.
I'm going to try to say something here.
I like these. I like the way you say.
Vishal and I have sat down and broke bread several times. He's a great test. He's a great wine.
Did you then break wind?
No. I said cheese. So look. Yeah, no, they've got some things going, and there's a lot of wealthy people behind this deal.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Okay.
They don't need the money.
They don't
need the money.
No, but gold's starting to rear its
ugly head. Gold's at $13.90. When was the last time gold was at $13.90?
It hasn't closed there since December of 2013. I just heard it on the radio.
2013. 6 years ago.
6 years.
Was it the highest price in 6 years?
5.5.
5.5 years old.
5.5. Well, five.
Anyways, we've been jabberwalking a bit too much because here's now the lovely Portuguese fabulous news nurse, Suzanne Garcia, with the fabulous.
Here's what's new in weed stocks today. Vivo Cannabis announced it has made a $1.25 million strategic investment in Friendly Stranger Holdings Corp. The investment is intended to facilitate Friendly Stranger's aggressive cannabis retail expansion plans, with a goal of bringing multiple retail stores to the Canadian market. The Green Organic Dutchman has announced its expansion into the global organic hemp CBD market with the launch of its global strategic hemp division. This new division will leverage T-God's solid expertise in the European hemp CBD market to fuel growth and accelerate the development and commercialization of new products across its network of international partners. Rubicon Organics announced it has commenced commercial cultivation of a super premium organic cannabis using selected strains from its genetic library at its 125 square foot facility in Delta, British Columbia. The company expects its first harvest in September for sale in the Canadian market in the fourth quarter of 2019. Body and Mind Inc. has announced receipt of a conditional use permit from Clark County, Nevada for a new production facility located within 1 mile of the Pepper Lane cultivation facility. The new facility will be located within an existing commercial building where the company has secured a long-term lease. The company estimates the new facility to be approximately 7,500 square feet, with construction expected to commence in the next 30 to 45 days. Organigram Holdings announced that it has now shipped its first cannabis products to the province of Quebec. The company's products are now available in all 10 provinces. In other news, Martha Stewart launches her cannabis CBD products. In February, she announced that she was partnering with Canopy Growth Corp. Right now, she's working to develop new products related to pet care, cosmetics, and body care. And that's your news for today. Hi.
And look, Ed has disappeared.
Hi.
Where'd he go? He's already gone to London? Where's Edward? Hey, Edward,
What?
where'd you go?
Right here.
Oh, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, technical trader extraordinaire, Edward. Sir Edward Milewski is here to join us now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're already talking. Here's the great thing is that we've got a new sponsor to sponsor the show, which is why we're going to London. The new sponsor is Halo Labs, symbol HALO, on the NEO Stock Exchange. And I don't believe that there's any other cannabis companies trading on the NEO Stock Exchange at this point, are there, Edward? No, this is the only one. So if you want to buy cannabis stock on the NEO Stock Exchange, you're going to have to buy NEO. I mean, Halo, symbol HALO. So obviously, as our new sponsor, we will be talking about them rather frequently, rather glowingly, and yes, we are their sponsoree, so we say nice things about them, and they show how smart they are by sponsoring this show. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Nothing wrong with that program.
So also other news. We have now got it on good authority that our Los Angeles studio on Sunset Boulevard, yes, that's right, Sunset Boulevard, right kitty corner to the CNN Los Angeles studios, home of the new Midas Letter USA show and Midas Letter Live and Midas Letter RAW will be broadcasting from Los Angeles starting September 1st every day. Except Saturday and Sunday, because those are the days we're sleeping it off. Right, Ed?
Right.
What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Really? With nothing in it?
Black.
That sounds awfully boring.
Got some black coloring in this water.
Black. Little crayon coffee, as Charles Brown used to say.
Oh.
So, without anything... anyways, so there you have it. We're going to be in London on Monday and Tuesday. The show will be live from London on Monday and Tuesday at 3 p.m. London time, which means that if you're not in London, you're going to have to get up a little bit earlier to catch the show because it'll be at 10 o'clock all time. If my calculations are correct, and chances are they are way off. So at some point between 9 and noon, the show must go on.
Show must go on.
Show must go on. Show me the way.
Look at Tilray. Up $4.27 today.
Wow.
What the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on? What about Chiron? Chiron's also one of our sponsors. $2.59. Been selling up and under a bit of pressure here lately. One of the analysts that regularly graces our presence here on the show, the Russian bear, Dmitry, says that he's of the opinion that Chiron will bounce from here. So if you want to rush into the market and make yourself a quick little bit of coin, go ahead. Take your chances. Spin the bottle. Spin the dial. Spin the whatever. Get in there.
And you know, if you were a stockbroker, you could charge a commission for placing that bet.
In which case, wow, that's a good racket to be in.
Well, there was a cartoon, and the little lady walked in with her. She's going to see her broker, and the broker says, "Yes, madam. If you place that bet today, I'll gladly take a commission."
Well, now, being a broker is a special talent. I mean, you need a lot of experience to be a broker, don't you?
Yeah, well, the broker the broker you get.
That's genius.
Yeah.
So tell me about
I was a broker for...
You were a broker?
For 40 years. Oh, 30 odd.
Did you lose a lot of money?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you take some people's money and your experience and turn it into your money and their experience?
Not for very long, because I soon turned my money into more experience.
Really? Wow. So it's not like you're immune.
When I look back, I shake my head.
When you look back like this?
When I look back through the retrospectroscope.
Do you have a rear view mirror? I think everybody should walk around with a rear view mirror on their head right about here.
Right.
And be conscious of what's going on behind them. You know how many dumb people are standing there in the street talking on their phone, and it's like you're standing right in front of the crosswalk. So if you stand there and it's rush hour and 400 people want to go from that side to this side and 400 people want to go from this side to that side, and you got some boneheaded motherfucker sitting there yakking on the phone, blocking the way, what happens? People walk out into traffic and get clobbered.
Yeah. Well, you see just about every day someone, unfortunately, gets in a very bad mishap, like a pedestrian.
Mishap? You know,
I'm trying to be.
our friend Charlie
euphemistic
down in
or
New
what?
York. I was in New York this week,
Yeah.
and Charlie made a great reference. And he was talking about the emergence of all these motorized bicycles and scooters now
Yes.
that are on bike paths. He says he refers to them as weaponized cycles. Weaponized, and because he tells me the story about how now with all of the food ordering going on in New York, he says you don't want to go walking down the sidewalk at 6 o'clock at night because all these couriers are zooming up and down the road with like bikes that torque up to 40 kilometers an hour and like just knocking people on their asses.
Really?
Rude. Yes, the cops got to get in there. Start cracking some heads. Get in there and crack those heads, you cops, bastards. Anyways, you know who we should talk to?
Who?
We should talk to Andy Berman. He's the CEO of
Okay.
Harborside.
Is he related to the Berman that's on the technical analyst guy that's on TV quite often?
I don't know who the hell you're talking about, Ed.
I think his name is Berman.
Yeah, I know that, Donnell. It's Edward who's got the problem here. Anyways, I'm talking to the...
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So,
Okay.
in also the thing about Harborside is Steve D'Angelo was an activist in the California cannabis scene since like the early '70s. So he knows a thing or two about getting his head cracked.
Was he originally from Texas?
Steve D'Angelo?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think he's always been from. I don't know. The bottom line is I don't know. Anyways, here's that conversation I had with Andy Berman. My guest is Andrew Berman. He's the CEO of Harborside Inc., trading on the CSE under symbol HBOR. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me, James. What a pleasure.
Harborside is probably one of the best-known stories in the whole cannabis space in the state of California and probably in the United States, thanks to its chairman and founder, Steve D'Angelo.
Chairman Emeritus, yes.
Chairman
Emeritus.
Emeritus,
Yes.
okay. And anyway, so I've known of Steve's work, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing Steve in the past. I'm very familiar with what all he's contributed to the industry. So tell me how this all evolved to become a publicly traded company.
Well, and I agree with you. Steve's done a tremendous amount for the industry, and he's been fighting on the front lines for 40 years. How did we get to where we are? Well, a lot of this had to do with Steve. Steve and I had been talking since late 2016. We actually met each other. He was actually interested in doing some licensing work in one of the Bay Area counties. I had been my personal hobby is local government. I've been a mayor of a small California town. He was in that county, and everyone said, you ought to meet Andy. He knows I had some cannabis stuff going on the side over here, and he knows everybody in the town. He was the mayor, and I meet Steve, and we talk, and for a lot of reasons, that whole project fell through for all the right reasons. And he was doing a friends and family round, so I invested in the company and then spent time getting to know Steve. Meanwhile, California, on a macro level, California's regs are changing then. This is a medical cannabis nonprofit environment that is going to go full throttle into an adult use regulated environment. And Steve knew, to his credit, that wasn't something he was, had it in his heart to really be able to do. He'd been he's been an activist, he'd been fantastic in that other setting. And so we talked very consciously. I spent 2017 getting to know each other. It was a family business, getting to know his partner and his brother and his daughters all in the business, and made a very conscious decision, coterminous with the regs changing on January 1/18, for Andy to take over the business, Steve to move into the chairman emeritus role. He sold the first gram of legal cannabis in the state of California on January 1/18, cut the ribbon, said, Andy, here you go.
That's great.
And since then, it's been, just an exciting ride, as you know, right? California, great market.
Well, I've been to Harborside's location in Oakland. Yeah. And I was really impressed with the level of service being shown to what were clearly a patient clientele.
Correct.
And for me, that was one of the first places I had ever been that was actually a dispensary full of patients, not recreational users masquerading as patients, as is the case in some areas. But it was like a revelation. It was like that that the idea of legitimizing what had been previously deemed a drug and which has caused lots of hardship in people's lives could be so perfectly sort of integrated into society at a level that is very social and serving the community.
Yes.
And so for that, I've always held Steve and Harborside in very high regard. Now, since then, the whole industry has now exploded. You've got dispensaries almost on every corner, 80% of which are not actually legal. And so what is the competitive landscape like for an incumbent originator like Harborside?
Well, so just a couple of things. So really appreciate those comments about the store and the experience. As you know, for many, we set the gold standard, right, for what retail should look like. And for us, it has been about trust and choice and value for those customers and still some patients that are coming in, right? A place that you could trust the product that's being put on the shelf to be clean. Lots of choice. We've always been purveyors of very fine cannabis and want to keep that up. And value. We're not always the cheapest game in town, but we always have some products that are value. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, though. The competitive landscape is tough, the legal market, right? Many people don't understand that the California market, if you and I were sitting in 2017 and talking about what the industry was going to tell us about California in 2018, they were going to tell you that this market was just going to balloon and it would be up 35%. And what happened is the market actually shrunk in 2018 a bit because of all the regulations, because of the compliance, because of testing that was kicking in, getting your licenses. The result of that has been the competitive landscape in the black market that you're talking about. It has been nurtured, robust. The taxes are enormous. A $10 pre-roll joint that you would have bought in December of 2017 costs you $13.50 now, right out the door. And so the biggest competitor, and this is not unique to Harborside, but you've actually spot on, James. It's the black market, right? And it has just gotten a great boost of energy in that. And as some of the folks from out of state are looking at California as well, because it is the largest cannabis market in the planet. Northern California alone, the Bay Area is going to be a $2 billion market, right? We have a great foothold there. Right. But you look at cities that are West Hollywood, 8 licenses, 350 applicants. Another town in Northern California, going to have 2 licenses, 75 applications. It's just become such a competitive process like that too. So it's tough. Taxes are tough. The black market is tough. Banking remains tough for all the folks that are in the legal, compliant business.
Mm-hmm. So then what does the footprint of Harborside look like now throughout the state of California, and how do you plan to expand that footprint in terms of patients, locations, products?
Well, our footprint today, so when I took over the business, we had our 2 stores and a farm that was working its way through operations down in Monterey County. Today we've got a footprint that includes 5 stores in 2 states. We have 2 stores partners that we have, and we'll be managing 2 more stores and controlling the supply chain, the shelf space that are under construction that will open this year. So that will be 7 stores. We've expanded from the Harborside brand to include 2 more brands, including Key and Agris, and we've expanded our cultivation operations. So we have over 200,000 square feet of cultivation, greenhouse cultivation, and 40,000 square feet of outdoor cultivation. So we've become this vertically integrated entity. We've got 1 store, one of those stores of that 7 footprint is opening up in Southern California. So beginning to look at Southern California, and that really is the strategy. We have enough cultivation capacity to feed the stores that we have now. And as we grow and include more retail, we have the ability to scale that up. We have the footprint on retail, and we love to think about controlling the life and flow of brands, not just our own, but supporting that ecosystem because of the issues in the state and because of some of the supply constraints. We are very, very happy to supply some of our biomass. We like that to other partners whose products then come on our shelves. We have always been about keeping this industry, creating this industry, nurturing this industry, and we're going to continue to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then in terms of from an investor's perspective, What is the what's the outlook in terms of profit going out, say 6, 12, 24, 36 months?
Well, I think this is a great opportunity, obviously, for investors. I just, you look at a comparative basis. We did about $14 million US on a system-wide pro forma basis in Q1. That's about $18 million Canadian. You compare that to some of the other large players. That's roughly about a third the size of Truliev's revenue in that quarter, roughly half the size of MedMen's. MedMen is valued at $1.5 billion, and we're sitting here with a market cap of about $250 million. So we see a tremendous amount of upside in our stock and in our business. Remember that everybody wants to be in California. It is a fantastic market. It is the largest market. As I said, the Bay Area itself is a big market. There are so many barriers to entry to get into that market. It is the licensing requirements. It is understanding the regulatory framework. It is not like any state, but California, because it was putting the toothpaste back in the tube, regulating an industry had been around for 22 years. It is a complicated structure. We understand that. So there's not only upside in the business itself, but there's upside in a business that's got a great foothold in the largest cannabis market. So we see tremendous upside. Just on the market side, and I know this a lot because my own, that local government background that I have, when the state was issuing its regs, it told the states, if you don't do something by a certain date, we're going to control the process. So most cities in the state said, nope, not going to happen. No cannabis here. So you've got a state with 485 cities, and 70% of them haven't even dealt with cannabis yet. So to me, there's tremendous opportunity in this state, and so having a foothold there, right? And I think it provides some long-term growth. We've been doing this a long time. We weathered a lot, and Steve has weathered a lot. We've weathered a lot. We're in this for the long haul.
Sure. So 70% of the municipalities don't have cannabis regulations?
Yeah, they don't yet.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
it's a tremendous opportunity.
It's a tremendous. That's what I'm saying. It's a tremendous opportunity in the state. You look at there were thousands of grows. There's hundreds now, right? And because they have to go through the process. There were 1,500 or 2,000 cannabis retail stores in 2017. There's 600 now, less than 600 now. So there's tremendous opportunity as more things come online, as the state figures out and get the regs in place, as the remember the regs have been phased in. First get your licenses, then packaging and labeling and testing, right? And now we're going to switch over to the metric system, the track and trace system. So people are trying to navigate all this stuff. We've been influential in creating some of the regs. It's a comfortable place for us to be in this great market.
Well, it sounds like Harborside's got a really great future in front of it, Andrew. We're going to come and visit you in California with a crew.
Would love this.
And we're going to have you back regularly, just because Harborside, if any organization in this industry is deserving of coverage, it's Harborside. Thank you very much for joining me today.
We would love people to come, right? Because it is hard to appreciate. I was talking to somebody while I was here this week, and they were just reflecting on the fact that they visited a lot of stores, and then suddenly you get to Harborside and you go, wow, there's something different here. It's a place to learn about cannabis, experience cannabis, talk about cannabis, buy cannabis. Would love you to come. Thank you for that. Love to come back and really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My best.
Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you more or less delivered on.
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
and I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really.
Recreational cannabis is here.
It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
But there is the thing.
Ed was just explaining that he has no concept on managing money.
Wow. We don't want to tell everybody that. I got a money managing business that I'm trying to operate. No,
a money managing busis? You need some customers? You can manage my money.
What do they say? You have to spend less than what comes in.
Is that right?
That's how it works.
Is that how
That's
you make...
called positive cash flow. When more comes in than goes out, positive.
You don't say.
When more goes out than comes in, negative. Negative cash flow.
That makes perfect sense.
Unless
No
you're-
wonder this damn thing's not charging. It's not plugged in.
Well,
Look at that. Holy cow.
Yeah.
We're not going to have computer power for long if we don't have it plugged in. That's all I got to tell you.
I'm perplexed.
I am perplexed. Now, there we go. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at like some of our favorite stocks. Like I'm going to pull up this chart of POT. Now, this was the Weekend Unlimited. I bought 200,000 shares of this.
200 or 400?
200.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, $200,000 of this.
At 20 cents?
Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk about mismanaging money? How about that?
Well, and you know what? After that, they changed that signal. I did short it a couple times, but just to,
Short 6 cent stock.
No,
Boy,
not
you
6
ballsy.
cents. When it ran up, when they changed the symbol.
Oh, that was a day.
Hey, I'm here one day longer. I made enough money that day to live another day.
Do you think that Iran's going to get some missiles shoved down its throat by real President Trump?
I don't know. You know what? This whole political thing, it's ebb and flow, right? I mean,
did you read in the elevator on the news coming up here that kids in the 18 to 30-year-old age bracket are developing pointed heads because of their childhoods looking down at devices?
the pointed heads.
Yeah, they got a pointed head, like a point on their head. Horns.
Why?
Because they're looking down at devices and gravity, you know.
Gravity, what, goes the other way?
No, it makes your head grow up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Did you notice also that
Jesus, they're tampering with your master plan. What's going on?
I always thought that some people would look better with a horn on their head. Like not
Like a unicorn.
well, no, like a
unicorn.
Like a
horn.
Yeah. We should all have horns on our
Why do they, horn, no big deal, but you throw the letter Y on it.
Now you're talking hashtags.
Everything.
Horny. Like, see, why is horn?
If I had more than one horn, I'd be horny.
Like, you'd be horny. You'd be a horny home fella, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I'm old.
Yeah.
And I'm a fella.
Yeah. And you're horny.
Old fella.
Old horny fella.
Remember, wasn't there a
You're
book
a little
called
horny, aren't you, over there, Ed?
Old Yellow?
You feeling a little horny? Horny.
No, if
horny
I bend down and I charge you, you'll feel horny.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, no, easy there, big fella. You don't need to get that kind of horn dog thing
So
going.
big news in the commodity world. Oil's up $3 or $4.
Well, everything's up. Come on, Eddie. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole
but they weren't
Middle East is
yesterday.
falling apart.
If we'd have known that yesterday, we would have bought yesterday.
Well, no, we wouldn't because we don't have any money. We're broke.
And we don't have any money because I forgot that you have to spend less than what comes in.
Exactly that. See?
Simple.
Now we know, though. What does that mean?
Well, so you know it, big
Now
deal.
we're going to start making some money?
Just so, an alcoholic still goes and drinks, doesn't he?
Well, but just because you drink doesn't make you an alcoholic.
No, that's true. That's true.
What do you got to say about that? What else is going
Where's
on?
the vodka? Oh, I see you pouring it in.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I wanted to talk a bit more about the Cannabis Europa conference because...
Where's that being held?
It's being held at the Southgate Centre down by I believe it's the Waterloo
What
Bridge.
city?
London, England.
Gee, I really would. That'd be a nice thing to go to.
Well, we're going. You and me.
We are?
We are. We're going to do our show live from there. There's Alistair Hathaway. Alistair Moore, rather. He's from Hanway Associates. These are the guys that founded the conference. This is some footage from last year. See, there's Jordan Sinclair from Canopy Growth. Monica I've not met before, but Dan Sutton's been on the show.
Right.
He's been on the show. Chandni Hindocha, we haven't talked to her before, but maybe we'll have her on the show. But we've got all these interesting people we're going to talk to there. Cam Batley's going to be on our show.
I want to go. I'm going to go.
You're going all right. We got you a plane ticket and everything.
Yeah. How did you know my passport number?
No?
How did you do that?
What do you mean, how did I do that?
Don't they want the passport number?
No.
They don't?
No. They want it at the border.
I know, but they're going to want it to. I never. Let's not talk about that now.
Why not?
We'll talk about it later.
Sounds good. Look at Flour Corporation,
Yeah.
$7.20.
It's near its upper. I looked at the chart yesterday.
What the hell is going on
It
with
had
that?
3 volleys. Well, that product I was showing you, that purple pack, that's flour.
Oh, that was some very potent marijuana.
That's why they only give you half a joint.
Very, very
And
potent
charge you full of
marijuana.
2.
So look at this company, Galane Gold. I want to point out Galane Gold because we're going to have a video from Galane Gold here in just a bit. And this company produces currently 30,000 ounces of gold per year at an all-in cash cost at $1,000. And gold just topped $13.90. And that makes this company, in my personal opinion, a bit of a buy.
Well,
I mean,
I've had some experience. Let me temper your enthusiasm there, cowboy.
yeah.
Sometimes, you know, if you get into a production thing and the production is modest, and I'm not saying it's modest, I don't know but I'm telling you, I've had the experience with others where they just keep, you know, doing the same thing over and over again. Market doesn't care. There's a company called Anaconda, which I like. It's producer in Newfoundland, but it, you know, it took a long time. But it's been a tough cycle. This is
the thing. This isn't these guys resting on their laurels of 30,000 ounces and calling it a day.
Okay,
They've got a second mine that's going to start producing 30,000 ounces this year.
Really?
And then they're amping production at both mines.
What's
They
the
plan to
market
be
cap?
at
What's the market cap of the company?
90.
Tough question.
What?
How many?
$5 million, Ed. $5 million.
And so they're generating cash.
$9 million. $9 million, Ed.
Neuf.
Yeah, so actually today,
Okay.
for the first time this year, gold is outperforming cannabis.
Well,
What?
you know, we never when we were doing all the interviews with cannabis people, we always left room for some gold. I'll tell you, there's a few out there, and I'll tell you another one we've interviewed, and the money's coming, by the way. Thank you very much. Let me say this. WRR is on the verge of a major discovery in
Walker River Resources.
Walker River Resources. Yeah, our friends in Quebec and
Lapin Canyon.
Yeah.
I know that story because I covered it, I think the first time I did a podcast on that one was back in the 14s, somewhere back there.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, but no, we've been covering gold, and because we've been covering gold...
But I think gold...
Here's Suzanne Garcia with the news! Yeah! Oh, that must be the wrong throw.
but we've already had her had the...
I know, that's what I'm saying. Okay, next up, I'll be speaking to Martin Cronin from Patriot One Technologies. Martin Cronin joins me now. He's the CEO of Patriot One Technology, trading on the TSX under the symbol PAT. Martin, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Martin, the company keeps making fantastic announcements, and lately, the latest one was to do with Cisco. And Cisco is, in fact, tweeting out about Patriot now. So what's the deal with Cisco all about?
Well, Cisco is just a tremendous partner for us. So this week is Cisco Live in San Diego, the biggest global event. All of their international client network are there. They've put us center stage, and as you say, they've been tweeting out about Patriot from the floor. So they're just a tremendous partner for us. But beyond that, presentational aspect, they're just really great behind the scenes, working with us to advance development, on the hardware networking side. Just a tremendous partner. Great. And how does Cisco equipment fit into the whole Patriot One technology solution? So with the VRS solution, which we've made some announcements about recently, we're using Cisco hardware. So they're instrumental in that particular product line. I see. And VRS is? That's the video object recognition to identify weapons in open view. Oh, okay. So, great. And then also earlier this year, you made an announcement in regard to partnering with Raytheon Canada. Yeah. Now, Raytheon is one of the largest defense contractors on the planet. And just got bigger with the merger with United. Right, exactly. So how important is that relationship, and what's the significance of it? Well, again, just a tremendous partnership for us. I mean, one of the biggest defense companies in the world with deep connections in many overseas markets. they have obligations in Canada under various defence procurement projects, and they were looking to make some investments. They identified us as a really exciting technology to get behind, and of course Raytheon's mission is seeing the unseen, and that's exactly what we do. We look for these unseen threats, and that's very much in line with Raytheon's mission. So just a tremendous partnership for us. They've given us non-dilutive financing, and there are all sorts of ways in which we can collaborate in overseas markets.
Mm-hmm. So will Raytheon actually recommend your product to customers, or is the partnership a seal of approval indicating that this technology works and vendors should take note?
Well, in a sense, it's both. I mean, it is a stamp of credibility on us that they've chosen to make that investment. They're excited by what we're doing. And then, of course, as we look at overseas markets, as I say, Raytheon has deep connections, and so we'll be looking to leverage the relationship in that way.
Right. I constantly ask you, and I'm sure everybody wants to know, but how soon is it until, at this point, we see Patriot 1 technology systems out there in the general public protecting us from unseen threats?
Well, that process has begun. You would have seen an announcement we put out just a couple of weeks ago, partnership with a major distributor in West Virginia. Our engineers are out every week with distributors and partners, getting installations done, looking at rollout to their clients. The important thing for us is that we don't want to do this in ones and twos. We're not going to be out there installing in individual restaurants across the US. We're working in partnership with the players who've got the market, who've got the capability to support the market. So our focus right now is on how we work effectively with these major partners, and they will then be the vehicle to take this out to wide public deployment.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So the system is actually in use in public places now in the United States?
Yeah, so as you will have seen, we have a number of solutions now. We've graduated from being a single technology play to being a solution provider. We provide what we call a multi-sensor threat detection platform. And so different parts of that platform are being used now by or are being rolled out with different clients depending on their needs.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's just a matter of time till the system actually detects and mitigates a threat in progress, and that should be a transformational event.
Absolutely, and that's one of the real motivating factors for our team. The idea that before long we will get that news that we've saved lives, and that will be a really gratifying moment.
Right. The global proliferation of threats seems to be increasing in terms of incidents, if one was to follow the news.
Sure.
And so does that sort of give you a sense of urgency that, in terms of developing and advancing the product and getting it out there, that you've really got to stay focused and keep moving forward with that?
Absolutely. And, people often come to us in the wake of an incident and say, could you have stopped that? And it's not helpful to victims of an incident to have people going around saying, oh, that wasn't necessary, that could have been prevented. But it is the motivating factor for us. And every time we see one of these incidents and feel that actually, we could have made a difference, that's a tremendous pressure on the team to get this done, get the products out there, save lives. Right.
In terms of the reseller agreement with Kramer Security Investigations, that's the Virginia-based operator, they've got a commitment to actually take and install systems regardless of whether they've sold them or not?
Well, yeah, they've got the clients already.
Oh, okay.
And so we've now shipped systems to Kramer. They have a huge client network, and so our engineers are busy working with them to get this rolled out with their client base.
Right, and so this is a firm commitment to generate $6.2 million in gross revenue.
That's our expectation around what they will need in over the course of 3 years.
Okay, well, great. That's a fantastic update. We're going to leave it there and have you back as soon as you've got some more to tell us. Thanks for joining
Tremendous.
me.
Thank you. Thanks.
We're back.
Yeah, there we are, back again. In case you've been wondering about the cannabis garden, I draw your attention to the screen here. This is this morning at 9 a.m.
I think you're trying to fence them in there.
Look at the size of these buds.
You worried they're going to leave?
Look at the size of these buds. This is pre-recorded at 9 o'clock this morning. Can you look at the size of these monster buds? Oh my God!
Are they all different? They're all different varieties. You can tell.
Yes. We have some Cannatonic in there. We have some skunk number 1, and we have
skunk number 1.
Granny's medicine, yes, and black rhino. One of each.
One seed. That's it. One seed.
Well, this was 4 seeds.
And they joined together, the 4 seeds?
No, they stayed apart. That's why there's 4 different plants.
Oh yeah, okay, but 1 seed per plant. That's usually how it works.
No, actually.
Well, what if you had twins, right? You'd have 1 seed.
2 plants.
2 plants.
Well, actually, wouldn't it be 1 plant? But it would be twinned?
Well, certainly in the human world, it's not like that. It doesn't work that way.
No, but we're not talking the human world, are we? We're talking the plant world.
Well, it's life.
That's true.
Good point.
What do you know? So there you have it. There's that. I also, in case you're wondering about the website to find out more about the conference that we've been yabbering about here, it's europacannabis.com or Europa-Cannabis. This is actually the, oh, that's weird. I got frame in frame. I got winda in winda. But this is the European Cannabis Week website. And then there's the Europa-Cannabis.com. This is the website for Europa. Oh, what the hell? Because it's Cannabis for Europa, not Europa Cannabis. CannabisEuropa.com. Now let's get this straight. There you have it. Tickets still available. What speakers? Who's speaking there, Ed? You know who's speaking there?
Who?
Me. I'm speaking there.
Are you a speaker?
I'm a speaker. I'm going to be emceeing an event on Wednesday night called First Wednesdays, which is sponsored by Stadnick and Partners, believe it or not. And here's the speakers that are going to be conversing with the audience at the London event.
Wait a minute here.
Sir Norman Lamb will be there. He's the MP of the United Kingdom, going to be singing the praises of cannabis as a medicine, as it were.
Leading voices from the words European politics, pharmaceuticals.
Look at that, eh? Can you read that, Ed? Now can you read it? Let's see if you can read while that's happening.
Well, I just have to move my head, and, you know.
Yeah. But, you can see there's quite the lineup.
All those people?
All these people. Where's your picture? My picture's not up there, I don't think, because I didn't send them one, because we just got this deal put together the other day, and it was rather late. But also, I don't want to steal any thunder from this, but next year we're going to be a major media sponsor if all goes well this year. But there's Nav from the Supreme Cannabis Company. Everybody remembers Nav.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing him there. Let's see. Look at this guy. He looks like he could do some damage, eh? Look at that ear. You never want to take a poke at a guy who has got an ear like that. Do you see that? He's a rugby player. Look at this. Is what happens to your ears when you play rugby.
So is that rugby ear?
Hey?
Is that rugby ear?
Rugby ear.
Or is that like a piece of...
What do you call it, Donald? Cauliflower ears.
Oh,
so
I knew that.
Yeah, but so that means if you get hungry while you're listening to this guy speak, you can just slice his ear off and have cauliflower. No, we're going to be talking to George is going to be one of our guests there, we hope.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Who's that?
Look at all these people. Isn't she pretty? I see. We've got pop-ups happening left, right, and center.
Speakers.
So let's see, what does this fella actually do? He's, what happened?
He's
George Cruis has been playing professional rugby for 10 years and is a seasoned international and British Lion. So we want to, George, if you're listening, we want to talk to you. Eileen Burbridge, Passion Capital. I want to talk to Eileen Burbridge.
Where's that country? I mean, where's that?
UK? It's across the water.
Okay.
Yeah. But so there's all this going on. All these things are happening over in the UK. So if you can
I thought that was Sandra Oh, the actress.
That's not too stereotypical racial, Ed.
No. I know this actress.
Even though it said her name was Eileen Burbridge. You would be profiling, stereotyping, would you, Ed?
No. What do I know?
Yeah.
Probably.
But anyways, that's going to be a great event. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of people there, and it's going to be fun. Anyways, let's take a moment from the conversation about cannabis, and let's take a look at this video on Galane Gold. He's producing 30.
Galane Gold was set up in 2011. It was set up to acquire Mopani, which is an asset in Botswana, and it was bought from IM Gold. And we saw a great opportunity there. It was a little bit of an unloved asset, but rightly so, because it wasn't the right size for IM Gold. We've transitioned it from an open pit to an underground. We've reduced the operating costs from 1,400 down to 1,050. And we've got production up to around 35,000 ounces on average and an all-in of 1,050. 2015, we decided that we needed to take that skill set, that management team that I put together, and then put them onto a different asset. And we acquired Galaxy Gold, which is here in South Africa. In the last year, we raised $10 million, and we're now putting that money into this asset. We've got the plant running now on a 15,000, and the idea is to expand it to 30,000 as we go through the year. Both operations are greenstone operations, and we're talking about wide ore bodies. So if we go to Mopani, the ore body there is about 40 to 50 metres wide, 100 metres strike, and we're doing long hole stoping. And it's mechanised mining, so small workforce. It's very easy mining. One of the reasons why we like this asset here in Galaxy is it's exactly the same. So the Galaxy ore body is again 40 metres wide, 100 metres strike, and we're using the same mining method. In fact, we're using the same mining contractor. The wonderful thing about Galaxy is it's sizable. We've taken it on with a 15,000 tonne plant, which we've refurbished, and the production costs there are going to be about $900 an ounce. But as we ramp it up, and we've got a plan we're putting together now to take it up to 30,000, and again the cost can go down to 800, and then we've got another plan to take it up to 60,000. And how can we do that? Well, easily, because the plant itself is scalable. It's just doing a crush mill float, and we've already bought crushers which are sized up to 60,000. We bought a second-hand mill which is sized up to 60,000. And when we get to 60,000, we're talking about all-in costs of under 700. So it's a great asset which we can scale up and reduce our costs. So we're standing in the area that we're putting in for the foundations for the new mill. So when we acquired this mine, we acquired it basically out of liquidation. In the last 2-3 years, we've been refurbishing as we've been going along. But now we're doing the big push. So you can probably see up behind me that we started work on repainting, putting it back to the condition it should be in. And it'll look like Mopani in about 12 months' time from now.
I'm Wayne Hatton-Jones. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Galane Gold. We have two operations, one being Mopani Gold Mine, the other one being Galaxy down in Barberton. My responsibility is to look after the operations both here and down in South Africa. In the mining industry, you get an oxide ore body and a sulfide ore body. We focus on the difficult ores, being a sulfide ore body, like Mopani and at Galaxy. We are basically doing a crush mill flotation, and we treat the concentrate here in a high cyanidation, followed by oxygen injection. And down at Galaxy, we'll be doing a crush mill float, and we'll be dispatching the concentrate to an off-taker. We make a point of actually fixing up wherever we've made an impact. Results are really good. The grass and vegetation has come back. You'll see the impala, the kudus, as well as the klipspringers. We've also put quite a few watering points in around the site for the animals to attract them, and they do come in the dry season.
So Galane is an unusual junior. It has production. A lot of juniors, you're looking at an exploration potential. We have an expansion program, so adding ounces, taking us up to potential 90,000 ounces, reducing our all-in to under 900 across the whole of the business. So if we go to Mopani, for example, when I started there was 18 expats. We're only down to 2 now. It's about transitioning skills across to the local community as well, and taking that senior management team, once we've trained everyone up, and putting them onto another asset. Long term, we have the opportunity to grow into a much bigger operation, in my view.
let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you more or less delivered on
Here are the
what?
headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
And I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really.
Recreational cannabis is here.
It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
Wow. And we're back. So, what did you think? Gold.
You know what?
$9 million.
If you get a company, a small company that can generate cash, and then plow that cash into more, it can be an exponential winner.
Yeah.
So these guys look like they're determined. They're producing.
Yeah.
How many actually ever produce? Duh.
Well, this is the thing. Most, as Nick said in the beginning of the video, most junior mining companies are focused on exploration upside. These guys are actually producing 90,000 ounces at, call it $1,400 an ounce.
It's a lot. It adds up quickly.
Yeah.
Well,
What's that? 140 million a year?
it's a big number.
It's a big number.
1,000 ounces. 1,000 ounces at 1,000.
Now you're not going to try to do the math now on me.
Yeah, a million ounces at $1,000 is $1 billion.
Jesus.
Okay, so you said say 100,000 ounces.
Yes.
100,000 ounces.
Yes.
Would be a tenth.
Yes.
So it'd be $100 million. So yeah, if it's 1.4,
Yes.
it's 140 million
Right.
revenue.
Right.
How much can they generate? How much positive cash flow can they generate from
Lots.
that? Lots.
Lots.
Like to sell real estate lots?
Billions.
Billions.
Enough. Anyways, other big news. Martha Stewart's gotten into the game. There's Martha right there. This is Martha Stewart has decided to join the cannabis revolution. Well, you've seen the pictures of her cooking cannabis with
You think
Snoop Dogg.
she's had some had a little
And that's, I don't think we've...
no, some
We're going to be
smoking
seeing
pot.
Martha in New York next week.
Okay. Hi, Martha.
Anyways,
I didn't know it was that Martha Stewart. Holy smokes.
Jesus.
Jeez. Okay.
I better not put anybody's face up there, Ed. You're going to insult them no matter who they are.
No, I just,
First he's racial profiling, now he's insulting Martha Stewart.
No, I'm
Boy, oh
disappearing.
boy. Let's talk about gold some more, shall we?
Wake me up.
Wake me up.
Oh, I just had
before
this
you
terrible
go.
dream that you were commenting on what I was saying on the show and
Oh, no.
all
Really?
the stuff I was doing.
I want to take a moment to thank our loyal watchers, some of whom are Joseph Lee is here often. Hello, Joseph. She-Vet Keto Static Bafanifi. She is got to be one of the most regular supporters that we can look forward to seeing every time we do a show. Scott Norris. Hello, Scott. Don't know if we've seen you before. Who else here? Pedro Lopez. Hello, Pedro. Where are you from? Andrew Miller. When is PTOTF coming on? Well, I guess we answered that a little while ago. Now
PTOTF.
yeah, Patriot One.
Oh, yeah.
PTOTF, that's the U.S. symbol.
So they're on the over-the-counter market, I would take it, because usually the F stands for foreign. Did you know that? Spit it out.
The F could stand for other things besides
Yeah,
foreign. Anything that typically trades on the OTC is
You failed.
fluff,
You failed.
fucker,
Failure.
fucking bullshit.
Okay.
Enough seriousness. Oh, Alan Trujillo is here. Alan Trujillo is from a small village at the edge of the mountains on the ocean, the mouth of a river.
But what country?
Peru! Peru! Mwah! Peru is on fire! We don't need no water, but the water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Okay.
long show,
Hey,
Ed.
hey.
You know what?
You've been,
Woo!
all right.
Oh!
Canopy growth's up 75 cents. Look at it.
Canopy growth? Yeah, well, look at that.
Cantrust.
57.58. You know, see, Canopy never goes down that much.
Well,
It trades
so
in a
far.
tight band.
So far.
Yeah, but I mean, other stocks so what would you call the sort of the range in the market right now? 40% since the beginning of the year?
The range.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Between the top and the
Temperature
high.
range?
No, fluctuation of price range. temperature range? Ed,
Mountain range.
what show are we doing here?
I don't know.
Stocks. We're talking stocks. The price, Ed.
What's the range?
Ed, what are you going to order as soon as you get to London?
I'm thinking of bangers and mash. I'm thinking.
Bangers and mash.
Yeah, bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash. What is that?
I don't know.
You don't know. You're just going to order it.
No, but that's on the menu.
Huh? Potatoes.
And sausages.
And sausages.
Yeah.
Sausages and potatoes. That doesn't quite sound like a meal to me.
Jesus, with a nice cold beer first thing in the morning.
Potatoes and sausages?
And a cold beer.
But
You're not gonna eat like. Would you eat like scrambled eggs with beer? No, you need some.
I eat scrambled eggs with beer. I've
That
had scrambled eggs with
works
beer.
with beer because
Have you ever
the
made
British
beer with
love
scrambled
beer.
eggs?
Nope.
You've never made scrambled eggs with beer?
I've scrambled beer.
Have you ever been scrambled after you've drank too much beer?
I've scrambled too much lately, to be honest with you.
So if you were an investor, Ed,
If I was, I used to be.
what would you be buying right now?
Full disclosure, I was really getting tired of gold recently.
Really? You're getting a little fatigued?
Well, that's usually when it happens. When you throw in the towel.
Yeah.
When I throw in the towel, it's because I'm the last seller. I'm the seller of the last seller. That means, there's the Last Supper.
Yes.
This is the last seller.
Yes.
That's me.
You're the last seller?
Yeah, last
You
seller.
mean you're the one that's holding the bag?
Gave my gold shares away, and now up she goes.
Look at that. Chiron Life, up 8 cents since we started talking about her.
What's it at?
That's what you call power right there. The power to move markets, Ed. It's $2.57 a share. Chiron is a sponsor of ours, so there, we're biased.
Yeah.
We're compromised. We're not to be trusted.
Wait a minute now.
Not to
Don't
be
say
trusted.
that. Don't say that.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that. Why would you say that? What would we say instead of that? Take what we say with a grain of salt.
Waiter.
Waiter. There's no waiters here.
Oh, okay.
We should be having beer, though, now that you said it.
I'm looking forward to being in with Big Ben.
In with Big Ben?
Yeah.
In bed with Big Ben?
No, in Ben.
Bend over?
Bend over.
Bend over and feel me cracking? Is that who you're going to look up there?
Is that Phil? As in
Oh, boy.
F-I-L-L, me cracking? Or
Phil me cracking.
Feel me cracking.
O'Reilly is dead and O'Reilly don't
Sorry.
know it. O'Reilly is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. They're both buried dead in the same little bed, and yet another one knows that the other one's dead. There's a little UK tune for you.
UK tune.
Irish. Irish is not part of the UK, Ireland.
You mean they got a separate flag?
They got a separate country.
You mean they got a separate country?
They got their own island
So if
over
you
there.
have a separate country, so Canada, for instance, isn't part of England either.
No. What
about the United States?
We got a separate continent. We got our own ocean.
Yeah.
What about who? United States? No, they used to be a outlet. No, actually, they started because they didn't want to be part of England anymore. Didn't they?
Yeah. You know what? They left there because they're tired of,
Taxation without representation.
Oh,
That's why they threw the tea in the water.
tea.
Piss off the king. Yeah. Boston Tea Party. Thing that catalyzed the war. The Civil War. The War of 1812. The War of Independence.
Catatonic.
Which war is it? Boy, those Americans are always fighting. Now look at Donald Trump, eh? They shot down his little drone. They're going to start dropping bombs on the guy's head. I hope they know that.
Well, whose drone did they shoot down?
It's a USD's.
They shot down the U.S.
Dollar drone.
The U.S. dollar. Yeah, then let's see
what
what
gold's
happens.
doing.
Gold flew.
Gold.
But we've had skirmishes before and gold didn't move. This time
Do you know
gold
that
moved.
the only country that has kicked the U.S.'s ass in 3 wars has been the United States is Canada? Canada has actually won 3 wars against the
They say that the Canadian fighters, this is from talking to people that have fought along the Canadians, they say they're fearless and nobody to mess with, the Canadians.
They're talking about you and I.
Well, they know we're going to kick some
We're
ass.
going to be doing some of this. And some of this.
Back up. Don't back up.
This is how we fight.
Okay.
Oh, you know what we haven't looked at in forever? Good point there, Donnell. Boy, the voice of God is speaking pure wisdom today. Pure wisdom, I say.
What is he saying?
He's saying that why don't we pull up the indexes? We haven't looked at the Midas Letter indexes in so long that I can't even remember where to find them. MidasLetter.com/cannabis indexes. Okay.
I think indices sounds just a little more erudite, like
indices?
Indices.
As opposed to indexes.
Yeah, indexes. Yeah,
indexes sounds a little bit clunky.
A little bit, say,
it sounds like something
bucolic or something,
Bucolic.
Yeah, country.
You call it
country.
country, like primitive.
Well, you're going to London, England. You don't want to be saying indexes.
Oh, no, I would never say that.
Indices.
I would say indices.
Indices.
Of course. Yes, indices.
Okay. Indices.
Indices.
If the boat-
in on the land is where the wars are happening, man. Indices.
If the boat sinks,
in the war,
it'll be indices.
There we go.
Jesus.
Run away.
And then you'll get disease.
Run away.
And then you die. And nobody gives a shit. All right.
At least you won't be making any more war. Anyways, so the large. Whoa! Look at there's my ugly.
Free
mug.
news, free content.
Free content. Actually, so the Midas Letter Canadian Cannabis Index up 1%, or 103 points.
And the other three
to
are down.
just about 11,000, and the other three are down. You are quick, Ed. But look at the small cap index, down 7.5%. That's a big move.
Well, 7%, you know.
Let's take a look at what's dragging that market down.
Let's see where the action is.
Let's see where the action is. Okay, New Strike brands no longer exist. Why?
Tetra Biopharma.
Hexo bought it. Hexo bought it. Bleh, bought the farm. Literally, bought the farm. Tetra Biopharma, boy, that thing's sucking hind tit like crazy lately, isn't it? It's down 16% on the day. Look at huge. Down 10%. Penny.
Well, you know what? That really, there's a bit of a miss. It's probably down a penny and a half because you can see if a penny and a half on 15 is 1/10.
Yeah.
So and they're saying it's down almost 10%.
Look at Dianamed brands. Look how far this sucker's fallen. Oh, what's going on? Why is that not there? Oh, God, I hate it when our website is broken. Dime.cnx.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on. I actually got to pull up a competitor's website to look at a chart. Jesus Christ. What the hell's going on with us? Okay, we're going to pull up. Oh, no, we don't want to do that while we're doing this. Okay, so let's go back. Let's hopefully. Oops, don't want to read my mail. Dianamed brands, Cannabis Technologies down 6.1%.
Weetabix should merge with Cannabis.
But you can see that there's quite a sell-off going here because these are big names. Oxley down 4% to 71 cents. That thing's always been a bit of a dumpster fire. Aleafia Health, $1.18. Now these guys just planted. They're the first to be growing outdoor cannabis in Canada, and the biggest. Not WeedMD as we were led to believe. But given the weather in Ontario this year, there is actually Aleafia is planting their cannabis out in BC somewhere, I think I saw.
Really?
I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But look at green growth brands. Like these things are really getting taken to the woodshed. Now, do you know why? Why are these stocks dropping so badly? It's because the steam's gone out of the market. All right, so every year it's the same thing in the cannabis space. All the funding gets done, and September, October, November, December, January, February. Then the hold period starts to come off of those stocks. If it started in September, the hold comes off in January. The ones in October, the hold comes off in February. So you get this increasing inventory of shares that are now freely tradable and probably in the money at the beginning of the year. So the pressure is on to sell them, creating a downdraft in the market, which spooks a lot of investors who then start selling indiscriminately because they don't really understand why the market's going down. And when indiscriminate selling starts happening, thus arrives the stampede. And so you get these massive blow-off days because everybody thinks the sky is falling. Now I can tell you this pattern's going to go on right through June, through the end of June, which we're almost at, and then it's going to just drift sideways until, you know what's going to happen? Some big company's going to come in and drop like $2 or $3 billion on another smaller company, and that will be a sector-wide catalyst, and all the party will be back on, and everybody will be thinking, damn, why did I sell that thing so cheap?
Yeah.
So, but then there's the other side of the coin. There's among some of these companies are companies that have failed to execute. And so those companies are losing the confidence of investors who are cutting and running for the hills because they've lost patience. And in this market, you know, it's like if you can't take my dollar and turn it into $1.25 in 4 months, I'm going to sell it and go try my luck elsewhere.
Do you think, like, for instance, if we got a new industry, let's say, and there's a bit of a bubble, okay, like
bubble.
Do you think that as you go in and you're let's say you're sitting there with a bag of cash and you're thinking, I want to invest in these things because they just keep going up. That when management tells you how good they are, do you look at the price of the stock and say, well, they must be good because the stock's going up? You get sort of maybe tricked into buying into the company because it looks like everything's copacetic. When in fact, now we're getting some of the,
That's called drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, I drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, you drink the Kool-Aid. Everybody gets guilty of drinking the Kool-Aid, and then it's like, I drank the Kool-Aid. I talked myself into the fact that this is a good company without really looking at the fundamentals and not understanding
the fundamentals. That's why and when there's a discrepancy between fundamentals and valuation, eventually fundamentals win. Usually.
Right.
Usually.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
It's like Beyond Meat.
Good advice. Beyond Meat. Overvalued? Undervalued?
Well, it's probably overvalued. And there's all these other companies that can come in.
That's the interesting thing about price is it's subjective. A thing is worth, my father used to tell me, a thing is worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. Meaning, I could sell you this gold ring. So this is the Latvian national ring that our family hands down from generation to 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 generation. And because it's made of gold, if I convince you that the historical value of this ring makes it worth $1 billion, and you believe that, to the point where you write me a check that doesn't bounce.
I'll write you a check for $10 billion.
All right, now we're talking. See, that's the power of the market.
Now you're talking.
Right there.
Okay, now you're talking.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing's.
Yeah. Well, look. If Larry Ellison said if he sold all his stock, he'd drive it to zero. That's what he said. He said, so
that's a good point. If the CEO sells all his stock, everybody's going to sell it.
I mean, you know what I mean? So that bid's only up there for how many?
I know.
They say, what's the bid good for?
It's just to make you think. Exactly. Whack. Anyways, we had a conversation with a gold company that was also in the cannabis business. That doesn't seem like such a bad idea at this point. Here's Vishal Gupta, CEO of California Gold Mining. California Gold Mining, Inc. is focused on continued development of a high-quality gold resource on its 100% owned Fremont property in Mariposa County, California. The property consists of an entirely private and patented land package totaling 3,351 acres of historically producing gold mines with a state highway, PG&E electric substation, and abundant water present on the property itself. It lies within California's prolific Mother Lode gold belt that has produced over 50 million ounces of gold. California Gold is also investigating greenhouse-based propagation of high CBD industrial hemp seed on the Fremont property. California Gold Mining trades on the CSE under the symbol CGM. Vishal Gupta joins me now. He's the president and CEO of California Gold Mining, trading on the CSE under the symbol CGM. Vishal, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Vishal, it's heartwarming to see a company doing both gold mining and hemp for a person like me. Let's start with the gold exploration project you've got going in Fremont. It's called the Fremont property in Mariposa County, California.
Right, yeah, we've had this project for about 6 years now, and the reason why we purchased this private piece of land in 2013 is because it lies along the Mother Lode gold belt of California, where the historic gold rush took place. And out of the 200-kilometer long belt, we have a 4-kilometer strike of the mineralized shear zone running on our property. Out of that 4 kilometers, we've drilled only about 1 kilometer, and we've got an initial resource estimate, NI 43-101 compliant, of almost 900,000 ounces of gold, 1.6, 1.7 grams per ton, all near surface in the top 200 meters. So we've got an expansion potential just on the shallow ounces of another 4 times, as much as 4 times, I should say. And we've got 25 historic mines on the property as well from the gold rush days that have all been dormant for the last 70, 75 years. They were all underground mines, and they go down to depths of 500, 600 meters below surface. Our resource only goes down to a depth of 200 meters below surface. So we've got a pretty substantial expansion potential and the underground mining potential, at depth as well.
Sure. And so is there an expectation that permitting of a new mine would not be problematic given the history of mining there?
We are in California. which is always problematic, regardless of whether you're in mining or not, especially when you're in mining. But we've got a few things going for us. We are on completely private land. And in the United States, regardless of where you are, as a private landowner, you've got substantial rights. So we are on completely private land. We own the property, 100% surface rights, 100% mineral rights. Plus, we are in a county that is an autonomous county, which means that when it comes to environmental permitting, the county is the lead agency, not the state. It's one of those rare counties in California where the county is the lead agency. So if you have local community support for your project to go forward, then the probability of getting your project permitted is pretty high. And in our instance, we have a very large supportive community, for our project to go forward. And the reason why there's so much support is because, over 30% of the population of Mariposa County is on social welfare. It draws on social welfare in some form or another. Another 30% of the population is hired by the county government so that people can actually have jobs. So, from an economic standpoint, this is a depressed economy. They desperately need jobs. They desperately need tax revenue to come in. And a project like ours would provide both of those components. So there's a lot of local support for us to move forward with this.
Okay, and so at what stage is the development of the property at? Besides, you've got the resource, but how soon till you go into production?
We believe we're at least 3 to 5 years away. At least. I mean, it could take longer, of course. Nothing is set in stone, but the expectation is that we've got another 75% of the strike to drill out first, then do some project economics to show, what a pretty large project of that scale would look like on this property in terms of economics, and then, you progress to a PEA, then you progress to a pre-feasibility study, you progress to a feasibility study. If there was an opportunity for us to put this project into production at, maybe a slightly higher resource of 1 to 1.5 million ounces or so, then we would definitely fast track this project towards a PEA, then towards a pre-feasibility study, and towards a feasibility study. We're not at that stage yet to make that decision. So we are currently, when we do start our drill programs again on the property, we will be looking to expand the resource first.
Okay, interesting. So I guess that gives you lots of time in the meantime to grow hemp seed. And most recent press release, you announced that you had pre-sold your entire production of hemp seed in the range of 5,000 pounds, and you expected to realize 15 to 30,000 pounds. If even at the lowest number, that's still $75 million. What's the status of that, and how did you get involved in hemp seed production?
Well, I think first things first, it's, I'm a geologist, so my heart is in the mining, aspect of what we're doing on the Fremont property. But increasingly, it became quite apparent that, even though we were coming out with some very substantial operational results on the gold mining and exploration side, we were not getting the appreciation in our stock price. And instead of just, doing one dilutive financing after another to just keep on funding the gold exploration business, and we were in a completely dead market when it comes to the gold, gold mining industry. And so instead of just doing dilutive financings and diluting our shareholders moving forward, we decided to see if we could monetize this private piece of land that we actually have in Central California and see if we could generate some positive cash flow. And so, initially we were looking at, building, a greenhouse and doing some high margin commodities, in terms of agriculture, like ginseng or basil or some specialty peppers. But then, we got approached by a couple of, cannabis sector companies, private companies based in California that wanted to lease our land, and then they wanted to do some cultivation of their own. And that's where we got the idea from in terms of, going into the cannabis sector. But we strictly wanted to stay away from marijuana. Marijuana is illegal in the United States, and we did not want to do anything illegal, especially because we're a publicly traded company. And so we wanted to stick completely to industrial hemp, which has now been completely legalized by the passing of the U.S. Farm Bill in December of 2018. And so we are in the process of launching our hemp seed propagation business. The expectation is that we'll be setting up one greenhouse, 27,000 square feet. That greenhouse should be up and running by the end of Q3. The seed propagation that would take place within the greenhouse would be on 3-month cycles. So So every year we can expect as many as 4 cycles. So our first cycle of seed propagation should be complete by the end of December, or I should say by the end of Q4 of this year. And in that time, we should be revenue positive.
I see.
And from one greenhouse, we're expecting between 2,000 and 3,000 pounds on an annualized basis. We've got some cultivation partners who have an impeccable reputation in the industrial hemp space in particular. Those partners are the same partners who have given us an offtake agreement for all of the seed production that we will be generating from our greenhouse in 2019 and 2020. That is as much as 5,000 pounds of seed. The seed currently is selling in the wholesale market in the United States. It is selling for between 40 and 50,000 US dollars per pound.
Wow.
And our long-term projection for the wholesale market is between 15,000 and 30,000 US dollars per pound of seed. So 2,000 to 3,000 pounds on an annualized basis. You're looking at 15 to 30,000 US dollars per pound long-term projection. That should be some substantial cash flow coming in.
Sure, and I guess if that all starts to work out, there's no reason not to build more greenhouses.
I don't want to be too forward-looking here, but you can reasonably expect us to have a very rapid expansion of our plans in the 2020 season.
Right. So the price of gold and advancing gold mining projects in particular has been challenging, to say the least, for a lot of companies. But this ability to diversify the opportunity for investors into the hemp business, which is clearly a key focus of the global retail investor class right now, is really interesting. And do you think that there's a likelihood that the money that comes out of the hemp seed business could actually fund exploration in your gold project? That was the entire impetus behind us getting into industrial hemp. We, as I said, we don't want to give up on our mining roots. And so, 99.9% of our shareholders are our shareholders because we're a mining company, not because we're a cannabis sector company. And so the expectation was that we wanted to generate some positive cash flow that would help us achieve our gold exploration objectives. That was the initial impetus. Clearly, now it has turned into an opportunity that is an incredible investment opportunity in its own right, given how hot the industrial hemp CBD sector is at current time. The expectation is, when we convert our hemp project into a business, into a viable business, that would be around the time when we realize our first revenues. Around that time, we will have 2 options in front of us. Either we do a change of business and we convert ourselves from being a gold exploration company into an industrial hemp CBD company, or we split the 2 businesses up into 2 separate companies. So at that stage, right around that time, we will have 2 paths in front of us, and we will consult all of our principal shareholders before making that decision. But if we actually do choose the latter, which I am leaning towards myself, of splitting the 2 businesses up into 2 separate companies, then the expectation would be that we would do that as a plan of arrangement, shareholders plan of arrangement, which means that if you, James, own 1 share of California Gold today, then you would end up owning 1 share of the gold company and 1 share of the hemp company. And in order to make sure that the gold company after the split does not go through a debt spiral of very dilutive financings, we would maybe structure some sort of a deal between the hemp company and the gold company, where the hemp company will pay some sort of a royalty or some sort of a leasing arrangement between the 2 companies, where the gold company can have some cash coming in from the hemp business as well, and can fund its future exploration objectives. Interesting. Is the land where the hemp is going to be produced, is that on the gold mine site?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty large piece of land. We've got 3,300 acres. Okay. And the gold is probably sitting primarily on about 1,200 acres or so, rough estimate. Oh. Don't hold me to it.
Lots of extra room then.
And the 1 greenhouse is going to take 27,000 square feet, which is a little over half an acre. So land, usage of land is not a problem. We're definitely not going to be putting that greenhouse on top of a gold mill.
Right. Okay, well, that's great, Vishal. Well, let's leave it there for now. We'll come back to you when you've got more to tell us. Thanks very much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube so you stay up to date on everything investment. Look, I've got my... How do you like my new outfit, Ed?
Yeah, well, I like mine better.
Yeah, so you were just saying, you're making an interesting point. So we've decided while we were watching that video that we are going to actually start covering some gold companies here, because the last time gold was this cheap relative to the rest of the market was...
Well, it was so much that the gold was this cheap. All the gold stocks have never been cheaper relative to everything else, and that applies to the mining sector. Like mining companies are so cheap, it's stupid, and they've been down here for a while, and it's actually making me a little nervous, to be honest with you.
Really? Nervous about what?
About the fact that, and once again, I've just,
Do you think if Trump tries to throw missiles down Iran's throat and starts that whole thing, the price of gold could spike significantly?
Well, I really do think this is all about central banks and greed, and no matter how far they can go one way, gold's been real money for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
So look, they're saying, things are slowing down in the world. Rates have to come down. Rates come down. The U.S. dollar comes down. The U.S. dollar comes down. Gold goes up. We saw it play out in a big way yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we find a few, we know there's assets there, whether it's production assets, whether it's to sell to somebody else. These things won't stay down here if gold starts to launch towards 1,500 an ounce on its way to maybe 3,000.
Right.
Just saying.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. So let's take a look at how Galane Gold performed here today. Sorry? There we go. There's the chart, and up 6 cents today. Highest it's been since back here in December. But this is interesting.
Look at the volume there. A little more volume, right?
Yeah. But so the company's got a total of 200 million shares out. So the market cap is 12 million shares at 6 cents. So this company added essentially $4 million in market cap today.
Is it up 2 cents?
Yeah.
2 cents?
Well, it says change 1 cent. So I guess it closed at 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you could throw 10 grand at this, and it'd be 20 grand in a week.
You know what? Look, the money is made getting in very early in the cycle.
You don't say.
Well, I don't say. No, hey.
Okay.
What does that say? What does that say?
At this point, we're still
it says
the Cannabis.
just saying.
Just saying. That's right. We're still the Cannabis Investment Network.
Okay.
So again, everybody, just to keep you updated on what's going on, starting on Monday and Tuesday, Edward and I will be broadcasting live from the Cannabis Europa conference in London, England. London, England. Smashing old time we're going to have there, don't you think?
Cheerio.
Cheerio. You want to drink some scotch?
No, I want
some claret.
London gin.
London gin?
That's mine.
Gin and tonic?
Yeah.
You're going to have a gin and tonic, are you? Smashing good time. Anyways, we're going to have some great guests. Cam Batley is going to join us on the stage at the Cannabis Europa conference. Cam Batley is the CCO of Aurora. Also, we are going to be in London to talk about our new cannabis company called Endocan Pharma, which is a private company that is developing a portfolio of cannabis drugs in partnership with some people who used to work for Pfizer. And so this is a really interesting company because they don't envision growing cannabis ever, because by that time, cannabis will be like, corn, canola, flax,
Canola.
Canada,
Cannabis.
rock and roller. She's a roller.
All right.
A high roller, baby. She is. Anyway, so and then we're going to start being live Monday to Friday, every day at 3 p.m., but it's going to be 3 p.m. West Coast time, 3 o'clock Pacific. So if you want to watch us in Canada, in Toronto, it's going to be at 6 p.m. If you want to watch us in London, it's going to be at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Just about time to try some of that smashing claret.
Speaking, now that we're going to London,
yes,
and there's Wimbledon, obviously. What time do you think Sean Connery goes to Wimbledon?
Sean Connery, isn't he dead?
No,
he's still around.
Yeah. What time?
We should get him on the show.
What time do you think he goes to Wimbledon?
Gin and tonic.
Tennis.
Oh, jolly funny, Edward. You. Oh, bloody
if I don't say so.
Smashing good time. Yeah, so anyways, if you have nothing better to do and your private jet is fueled up, we suggest you fly over
Pick
to
us up
London.
first.
Pick us up. No, we'll already be there.
Okay.
We're going to drink at the Footman Pub in, I think it's in Piccadilly.
When?
On Saturday afternoon.
I won't be there.
You won't be there, but that's good because you won't be hungover for Sunday then. But Sunday then you're going to want to go out for a drink, and we'll be having roast dinner at the Shoreditch. Down in Shoreditch, you know. We're going to have roast dinner. We're going to have Yorkshire pudding. We're going to have steak and peas. Pudding.
I don't think that's how the Queen would say pudding.
The Queen? Who are you calling a queen? Say, Edward, who are you calling the Queen? That's just ridiculous. I'm not going to see the Queen.
What about Freddie Mercury?
Freddie Mercury's dead. Why are you bringing up the dead again, damn it? Anyways, yeah, don't forget, starting live from Los Angeles next September, Monday to Friday, James and Ed and a whole range of highfalutin guests.
God willing.
God willing. In the meantime, we will be coming to you live sporadically throughout the summer at various times in the day from various locations in the world because that's just how we roll in the summer. We're going to be everywhere. Tokyo, Mumbai, Dubai.
If you could take one place where you'd like to be and do this show, where would you like to do it
Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Actually, not really. No, I think Dubai. Dubai would be cool. Oh, you know what? Berlin. We're going to Berlin.
We need to do it from the Burj Khalifa.
The Burj Khalifa.
Which is the tallest building in the world.
Whoa.
Do it from up there.
Up there.
Standing on top.
Woo. Balancing on your fingertip. Or a bungee jump from up
there. And have people down below with these big, when you have a fire and you jump into these big things they carry in, just for protection.
Trampoline.
Little trampoline.
Fire net.
Can you imagine jumping off the Burj Khalifa onto a trampoline?
No way. Anyways, this ends our show for today. We'll see you next week in Bodyard, England.